Welcome to my channel TM Chitra Teacher. Today I am going to explain a poem which creates humor through words. That is, have you ever seen? So this is a poem about homographs and their magic in real life. So this poem is written by an unknown poet. As we don't know the name of the poet, so it is mentioned as anonymous in the textbook. So the poet actually wonders how English words are used in different places with different meaning. So before I explain you the poem, let's discuss the activities given in the warming up. The first introduction they have given about this poem is homographs. I hope you all would have heard about it. So homographs are the words that have the same spelling but differ in meaning, which used in different circumstances or situations. So we call that as homographs. So I have given you an example here. A rose is the king of flowers. Here rose is a flower. The second sentence, the sun rose with a golden glow. So here the sun rose, it's a past tense of the word rise. So the spelling same, the pronunciation same, sound is same, but the meaning differs as per the situation and the circumstances. So let us see to some examples over here along with the pictures. So think of 5 homographs and list them down. Then write 2 sentences of your own to bring out the difference in meaning. So I have helped you with the sentences too. So the first word is bow. So the prince slowly put down the bow and arrow. So here the meaning of the bow is mentioned in the picture. Should I bow if I see the king? Asked the little boy. So the meaning of bow, the word bow, differs in the as per the situation. Then the next word is tear. So you can say a tear fell from the eye of the old woman. And the next is tear the paper into 4 pieces. You can say tear the paper into 4 pieces, said the teacher. So the word spelling is same but the meaning differs as per the situation. The next word is close. So first is closing. So will you please close the door whenever you walk in? So it's a closed. Some place is closed or the door is closed. The next one is sitting close by. So the mother said the child not to sit close to the television. So I hope you can understand the meaning from the picture. The next one is bat. So we often see bats in our garden in the late night. So it's an animal. So Tom has a strange way of holding his cricket bat. So this is a bat like cricket bat or a baseball bat. The next is a fly. Fly is an insect. So I hated the experience when I found a fly in my soup. So this meaning is fly means it's an insect. The next fly is I love to watch the birds fly in the open sky. So this is a movement we call, it's a verb. This flies as a verb. So now let us go to the next activity. When words with the same spelling or pronunciation are used in such a way that they convey more than one meaning. So the figure of speech involved is called pun. A pun is a play upon words. So you can call it as a double meaning. A word which has 2 meanings, we call it as a pun. So it is like a game we play with words. So let us have some examples here. When his wife died, he cried for a second. So the word second has 2 different meanings. Maybe he cried for some time or he might be wishing for a second one. So we have 2 meanings over here. So the cereal you watch is not nutritious at all. So cereal, or the word cereal means the act which you do continuously or else the things what you watch. A serial means it could be a drama, a scene which goes on the TV. The next is a horse is a stable animal. Stable means the place where the horse lives, as well as the word stable has one more thing is stability. Living life depends on the liver. So here the word liver has 2 meaning. The one meaning could be it is an organ of an human body or in any animal. So other meaning is liver. The one who lives the life is called as liver. So living life depends on the liver. Now let's move on to the next activity. In poetry, when a question is asked, not to get an answer but to emphasize, that is to highlight it or to give more importance, special importance to a point or a fact. So we call that as an interrogation. So a question is asked but not for the purpose of answer but to highlight the question and to highlight the particular point. So we have some examples over here. Can we do better next time? Is rain wet? Do you want to be successful in this world? Can I see someone's sorrow or not be in sorrow too? Okay, so I have given these examples for your reference. Now let's see to the explanation of the poem. Have you ever seen? So this is a poem. It is a brain teaser that uses the poetic device called pun. So many words in the English language have more than one meaning, and the poet has created an amusing effect by playing around with such words. So let's see what the poet has mentioned in every stanza. So before we go to the poem, let's see to the rhyming words. You can see the first stanza, bed, head, toes, hose. So we will give to the first word as A. For bed, A, then head also A, because they rhyme together. So it's A, B, B. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, B. So in the first stanza, have you ever seen a sheet on a river bed, or a single hair from a hammer's head? Has the foot of a mountain any toes, and is there a pair of golden hose? So in this first stanza, the poet asks us if we have ever seen a sheet that we use on a bed, over a river bed, or hair growing on a hammer's head. So he asks if the foot of a mountain has toes like a human foot. Does like a human foot, does a mountain also has a foot? So he then asks if there is a pair of garden hose, in which the word hose also means the stockings worn by women. You know, women wear the tights or the socks, long socks. So he is comparing with that. So here the words like bed, head, foot and hose are homographs, that they all have same spelling but are used in different sense. That means in different meaning. Thus their meaning differs in different context. So the words have two meanings. So it creates humor. Now let us see to the next stanza. Does the needle ever wink its eye? Why doesn't the wing of a building fly? Can you tickle the ribs of a parasol, or open the trunk of a tree at all? So in the second stanza, the poet asks us if the eye of a needle can wink like the human eye, or why the wings of a building can't fly like how the birds fly. So the poet then asks us that if the ribs of a parasol here means it's a umbrella. So can it be tickled, or if we can open the trunk of a tree? So can we do these things? He is questioning us. He is questioning us not to get an answer, but to emphasize on these points. So the humor here is that we cannot tickle the ribs of a parasol, because we cannot tickle the ribs of a parasol, of an umbrella, because they are not the same as the ribs of a human. They are not same. And at the same time, we also cannot open a tree trunk. It's not a trunk box to open it. So it's a tree trunk. So we cannot open. It's not that kind of a trunk we can store our things so that we can open and close. So tree's trunk cannot be opened. So in the third stanza, are the teeth of a rake ever going to bite? Have the hands of a clock any left or right? Can the garden plot be deep and dark? And what is the sound of the bridge's bark? So in the third stanza, the poet asks us if the teeth of a rake would bite, and if the hands of a clock have the left or right hand. See, teeth of a rake means, rake is used in the garden to remove the dry leaves and to clean it. So it looks like a teeth. So that teeth is not going to harm. And at the same time, he talks about the hand of a clock have left or right. So clock's hand doesn't have left or right like human hand. Clock's hand will be rotating around. It's not going to wait in one place. So here the teeth of a hand-held rake are used to collect fallen leaves, and it is made up of wood or a steel, but not like a human being's teeth. But the hands of a clock is also ones which shows a time, but not like a human hand which has a left or right. So he then asks us if a garden plot can be deep and dark. Actually plot word has two different meaning. One is a garden plot, means it's an area. Another meaning is a plan, a wicked plan, a deep plan which destroys someone's life, or to create a horror. So here the plot can be deep and dark. Deep and dark represents to sorrows and worries. So here the poet has two different meaning for the word plot, and he wonders about the sound of a brit's bark. Brit's bark is a tree's bark, but the word bark has another meaning, that is when the dog barks, that sound is also called as bark. But he refers over here in this poem as a bark of a tree. But still he creates a he has used this word to give a dual meaning to it. So thus, if you see in this poem, the poet has created funny images using the puns, the words which has the quality of puns. So to create more humor in the poem. Let's discuss the activities given in the English workshop. The first activity is, from each line in the poem, pick out the word that is a homograph. Write its meaning in the context of the phrase used in the poem. Then write the other meaning implied in the question. So we are going to write the two meanings which is been implied in that words given in the stanzas. So let us see to the first stanza, the word bed. So the first meaning is piece of furniture. The second meaning is bottom of sea or river, etc. So the next word is head. So head has a first meaning is upper part of the human body, and the another meaning is as per the poem, it's a hammer's head, part of a hammer. Then foot. Foot means lower part of a body or else base of a mountain. Then hose. Hose means a pair of stockings or tights what women wear. Other meaning of this is a flexible tube, that is a pipe what we call for watering the plants in the garden. So we use a hose, it's a pipe. We can call it as a tube. So the next stanza, second stanza, the first word is eye, a sense organ to see around. So it's an organ of the human body. So the other meaning is the hole in the needle to pass a thread. So the thread in the needle we have an eye to pass the thread. The next word is wing. Wing means an organ in birds meant for flying. The other meaning is it's a part of a building. So in A wing, B wing, we have wings in the building. So it's a part of a building. The next word is ribs. Ribs means it's a series of long curved bones in a human body. So you might have learnt in science about the rib cage. But the other meaning of the word rib is a series of sticks attached to the center of umbrella. So when you open the umbrella, we can see to the ribs of the umbrella. The next word is trunk. Trunk means it's a large storage box, suitcase. We call it as trunk box earlier in the olden times people use it. So it's like a suitcase. The other meaning of this word trunk is part of a tree between roots and branches. So we call that as the trunk. The trunk is the base of a tree. Now let us see to the third stanza. The first word is teeth. So it's a part of the human body which is used for chewing the food. The next meaning, the other meaning for this word is front part of a rake used to collect fallen leaves. So rake is used while gardening, people used to collect the fallen leaves, and it will be made up of metal or else of wood. The next word is hands, part of the human body. The another hand, the meaning over here is the pointers on a clock to show time. So we have two hands on the clock which shows time. The next word in the third stanza is plot. Plot means we can have two meaning. One is an evil or a wicked plan, that is to spoil or to destroy someone's life. So it's an evil or a wicked plan. But another meaning of the word plot is a small area of land. The next word is bark. Bark means one meaning could be the sound made by a dog, or the other meaning could be the external part of the tree trunk. We call that as a bark. So now let's discuss the activity. In the next question, write two lines from this poem which you find most humorous and justify your choice. See, I have chosen two lines from the poem, and you can choose your own lines which you feel like which creates more humor for you. So these lines you can use it for your reference. Now let's go to the next question, that is find from the poem 3 examples of each. So they have used some figures of speech like interrogation, pun, personification, alliteration, and we have to find 3 examples from the poem. So interrogation means it's a question asked they don't expect for an answer, but to highlight the point, to give more importance to particular fact or the truth. So have you seen a sheet on a riverbed? It's a question asked, but they are trying to highlight the point. Does the needle ever wink its eye? Are the teeth of a rake ever going to bite? So next is pun. Pun means the words which have two meanings and which makes humor. Has the foot of the mountain any toes? Can you tickle the ribs of a parasol? Parasol is an umbrella. Have the hands of a clock any left or right? So the next is personification, wherein human quality has been given to an inanimate thing. Has the foot of a mountain any toes? So the foot of a mountain has given any toes. So human being will have this foot and toes. So now that quality has been given to the mountain. Does the needle ever wink its eye? So human quality is winking the eye, but that human quality has been given to the needle over here. So can you tickle the ribs of a parasol? So tickle the ribs. So tickling is a human quality, but it has been given to the parasol, ribs of a parasol. Next is alliteration, wherein the sound, similar sounds repeated. We call it as alliteration. So or a single hair from a hammer's head, her from the hammer, H sound, her sound is repeated. Or open the trunk of a tree at all, trunk and tree, T sound is repeated. And what is the sound of a bitch's bark? So bridge means B. So sound B is repeated to give a better poetic effect. So now in the next activity, read the following sentences carefully, then fill in the blanks using appropriate words from the brackets to make puns. So they have given some words in the bracket. I have already solved it for you all. You can just go through it. She had a photographic memory but never developed it. He was struggling to figure out how lightning works when it struck him. Every calendar's days are numbered. A bicycle cannot stand on its own because it is too tired. I am reading a book on anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down the book. So I do tell you a chemistry joke, but I know I won't get a reaction. What do you call Watson when Sherlock isn't around? Homeless. I would tell a history joke, but it is too old-fashioned. So the words over here which all are filled up, they all have a dual meaning words. Now next, the appreciation of the poem. Appreciation must be written in an order. First is title and the name of the poet. In the second paragraph, you will be writing the rhyme scheme as well as the figure of speech. And in the third paragraph is the central idea of the poem. So I have an example of this. You can use it for your reference. The title of the poem is Have You Ever Seen? And the poet of the poem is unknown. So he is an unknown poet. The rhyme scheme of the poem is A-A-B-B. So the poet has used poetic devices like interrogation, personification and alliteration throughout the poem. But the one which stands out is pun. Why doesn't the wing of a building fly? In this line, the poet used pun to create humor. The central theme of the poem is how words in the English language have two meanings, and if they are not applied correctly, the result can be humorous. By giving the examples, the poet tries to point out how the sentence sounds strange even if one word is misunderstood.